products, services being exchanged for money. Right? The value is exchanged for money, and that's at the core. And these are few decisions that consumers deal with and also businesses deal with. Okay? So we move quickly to further slides, and these slides you can go at your end, go through these slides. But these are few case studies that we discussed in this morning. Tanishq from Tata and also ITC, Dairy Milk, Kurkure. These are few brands, Sun Chips, etc. we dealt with this morning. Now coming back to what can be marketed, of course, all that you saw in previous slide, all these can be marketed. You have an idea that can be marketed. Person can also be marketed, right? You know, these celebrities, they are brands in themselves. Experiences can be marketed. Properties, organizations, everything under the sun, anything and everything under the sun can be marketed. So if you feel that you have a product which is a tinned canned cherry, or you know, apple from Kashmir or Pashmina or cakes or breads, butter, everything can be marketed. But we need to know who is the right consumer. Of course, having a good product at the core and making some good noise about it. That is what we would want to do. Right? Now coming to few further slides. So customers have various needs. We need to see that which are the needs that we are addressing through our products, etc. These are a couple of theoretical slides, so I will just quickly move on. Needs, wants, and demands are important constructs to know about. Why? Because, of course, as I told you, customers or consumers might want Apple for various reasons. But as marketer, you need to figure out what is that one reason which is cutting across many cohorts. Right? Not only one homogeneous group, but many cohorts. As I told you, chocolate as a product in the morning, it is having importance for kids as well as teenagers as well as senior citizens. But every cohort wants, a particular USP from that piece of chocolate that you are selling. Right? One has some concerns around sugar diabetes, for which he will make a different variant. One has concerns around fun and enjoyment part of it. You are making variants for that, may it be bubble silk or heart-shaped silk or whatever Dairy Milk silk you are producing. The variants there are addressing a particular need of that particular cohort, which want enjoyment and fun around the product. Some people just want to have a small bite of it and done with it, and kids also would want to consume it much more. So these are three different cohorts, and their wants and needs are very, very different. And you need to know where to introduce the variants of the product for which kind of element, what kind of variant. That is what we discussed this morning also. Wherever you are getting traction from one kind of cohort. So we discussed the example from the bakery shop. They have pastries as one product line, they have cakes as one product line, cookies as another product line, but in which product line you need to introduce variants. Right? So that discussion we had in the morning. Now coming to this particular session, there are types of needs that you are addressing for your consumers. More than that, the consumer decision-making process with respect to purchases. This is what we are dealing with. The first step is, of course, there are 7 steps listed in purchase decision-making behavior. But these are few important steps we need to give you. First is whether the consumers are able to identify the problem. Okay? So we will go through this process via this particular activity. Okay? So for the kind of product that you have noted down, I am assuming that all of you have written down one product. Your business idea, future business idea, current business idea, you are dealing with one product or service or a platform. Please write it down. So you want to share your product? Saffron. Okay, very good. So what are the other products that you have written? Just speak it up from your end. Saffron is one. What is the product that you have? Digital media portal. Digital media portal. Okay, very good. Saffron. Okay. Apple. IT services. Okay. Next. cherry. Okay, we have some similarity. Honey is next to you. Honey. Okay, electrical engineer shifted to pottery. Now to honey and grapes, which is the product that you are interested in. Okay, next one. Walnut. 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 Okay, walnut. Next.
Organic agri.
Organic agri products.
Agri inputs, particularly.
Okay. Okay. You. Okay. Again, agri. You have written down dairy product? No. You just came, right? So this activity starts with you having written down a product of your choice that you are identifying with for current business or future businesses. So please write down a product. Flower. So please write it down. Petals. Pickles. Okay. Bread. Yeah. So I know okay. So mostly food products, but we also have IT services and media portals, etc. Okay. So you all are thorough that this is the product that interests you. Clear, everyone? Okay. So now with that particular product, please write down set of 3 problems. When I say problem, it's not exactly problems. 3 concerns. Which is why the consumer would need that particular product. No, not weaknesses of the product. 3 reasons. 3 reasons why the consumer would need that particular product. Please write it down.
I think in problem elimination for every area.
Yeah. So what is a problem? Problem all of us deal with, but what is a problem? Sometimes a problem.
Why is it the consumer
is interested. Yes, very good. Reasons why the consumer would need that product. That is what we are dealing with in the first step. Okay. So when the consumers would want to buy your product, before that they need to understand why do they want to buy it. Right? What problems of the consumers your product is solving. So you write it down. Please write down 3 reasons. All of you.
why is it interesting?
3 reasons and 3 important reasons. Okay. Let me know when you are done. 1, 2, 3. 3 important reasons why the consumer would need your product. You yourself you are also a consumer of the same product, right? So you can also write down 3 reasons why you want that product. Okay, great. Let me know when all of you are done with. Done? Everyone? Last person? Done? Okay. So I would like to hear from Saffron.
Issues with the health benefits of this.
Okay, so first one is boosting immunity. Okay, next.
Second is to
avoid and the flavor and taste. I will write down these things. Your 3 reasons. Okay, color agent. Now.
And we can also use it
Use metabolism. Okay.
and it also as a antiseptic product.
Okay. So now here for saffron, what they tell me is immunity booster. Okay. Metabolism booster. And next is antiseptic property.
Natural dye.
Agent. Yeah. So in this we will look at What else I'm missing? Let me say. What else I'm missing? Taste plus shelf life. Right? Taste plus shelf life. Okay. So we'll take this as example for further discussion. Now, is that okay with all of you? And you please parallelly also proceed with your products and the reasons that you have mentioned. So, think about the first one, taste plus shelf life, right? For products. Taste plus shelf life. Do you think these are two benefits or a single benefit? These are two benefits, right? And your end consumers for taste, might be same or different from end consumers for shelf. True or not? It will be same. How many of you, please raise your hand, saying that taste plus shelf life are for a single consumer or for two different consumers? Single consumer. How many?
Just like just an add-on.
Okay, so please raise your hand. I want to see that how many of you think that it is for a single consumer? You for a single minority. Rest of you think that these are for two different consumers. And why? And why so?
Because tasting something different and shelf life is something different. Why a product goes for more than but taste varies. If you put it for long term, the product with small shelf life. If you put it for the long run, the taste varies and the contents may vary.
Okay.
The products in the product value may vary. The product their taste as well.
Okay. Fair concern, but now let's start with the individual consumer.
People living in far flung areas, they don't need taste. They need shelf life.
Okay. So now people in different geographies might prefer shelf life over taste. Right? In extreme geographies, they might prefer shelf life over taste. So for them, even if taste is little bit moderated, they don't worry much, but they want is shelf life. If your product can be used to improve shelf life, that's of more value to those consumers than taste. Isn't it? So now let's now have distinct market for these. We are talking about individual consumers, which are individual households, which are buying Chevron, right? Let's talk about the B2C market where individual households are buying Chevron. So one person from that household is purchasing saffron for what use? Household use, right? Which is making everyday products and then serving, the guest or the members of the house, etc. Are they worried about shelf life? No. What they are worried about? Taste. So do you find this as a sizable market to address with saffron as a taste enhancer? Taste enhancer. Right? So USP taste enhancer for this market, which is household that we are targeting, individual consumers that we are targeting, and they are not worried about shelf life. Their idea is to have fresh food. So they cook it, consume it, and done. So now if you are merging these two benefits as one, right? This is not a good enough USP for that particular household. Shelf life. They don't worry about shelf life. Why are you proposing shelf life as a USP to those consumers? So now moving to B2B market, which are these restaurant chains or hotel chains, confectionaries, sweet manufacturing shops, etc. Right? They are producing in bulk amounts. Okay. For them, what makes more sense? Shelf life. That's the USP for them, right? So saffron, let me first educate you. Are there different variants of saffron or just one? Of course, there might be variants, right? And there might be variants which can promise a much better shelf life. And there may be variants which promise higher taste. This is what I'm assuming, right? So you can have two distinct markets being addressed with two different variants of your product and two different USPs. You cannot merge these two markets and merge your USPs, taste and shelf, which will not give you enough growth in that particular market. So you can introduce two different price points to two different markets with two different variants of saffron. Environment. Okay. So what? Okay. But how do you keep it, right? The storage condition. Yes, of course. So which means if your USP is shelf life, you target a particular type of market, not every. Okay. And for those kind of market, only one kind of variant goes with a different price point, because those are value for those businesses. And you instead, in this particular business of adding value to other businesses, are going to gain more being in this particular market. So one variant, one price, one cohort of customers, one USP, which is your shelf. Now let's talk about the other market. How do you reach to this market via digital platforms? So these people will buy in bulk. They will not buy in small quantity. Right? So your distribution channel, everything would be separate for this particular market, because these people are buying in bulk. They might negotiate on price. They would want a consistent supply throughout the year. So their challenges are completely different. So your end users, consumers' challenges are completely different. So address them separately. Now coming to B2C market, where you are proposing taste enhancement. What taste? That's your USP. They would buy in small quantity, keep it all through the year in their refrigerator, might put it in kheer, might put it in some sweet that they make in small amount, and they're done with it. They will repeat purchase maybe after a very long time, right? Whereas you will find repeat purchase from these big buyers very quickly, right? So don't merge these two. That's the suggestion. Don't merge these two. Because if you are merging these two, you are basically merging two different markets. And which is why when their challenges are different, you are not able to address. People who are buying in bulk versus people who are buying in small quantity. How this has to be positioned, small quantity. Attractive packaging. Packaging is important there, right? Very small quantity at an attractive price point. Because they buy once, they might not negotiate, so that's different. Okay? For big buyers, these things are invented. They mostly will negotiate on price, they will want consistent supply, right? No disturbance there, because their business stands on your business. Okay, your product. So please be careful when you are merging USPs. Okay, now let's come to the second USP that you have told me, immunity boosting agent. Just when you search it on Google, immunity boosting agent, how many things you come across? N number of things. Turmeric is also immunity boosting. It's also antiseptic that you have written. Tulsi is also immunity boosting. What not? Honey is also immunity boosting. Everything is immunity boosting. Everything is immunity boosting. Right? So when you say USP as immunity boosting as your priority USP, you are again entering into a market which is cluttered. Okay? And people are not educated to what extent saffron is immunity boosting. So saffron becomes comparable to tulsi, becomes comparable to almond, becomes comparable to walnut. Everything is cluttered. So saffron is a very, very specific, typical item which values much more than other immunity boosting products, but people would not realize that. Why? Because you are entering with an USP which is same as n number of products which are handily available. Okay? So they are handy. Tulsi is available in your bag. Honey is available with you. Right? So you are lost in that marketplace. So enter a marketplace where your USP is the prime value proposition to the consumer. So taste enhancement, shelf life enhancement, these are better USPs than to say it can go as add-on, but it cannot be a primary USP because it is a cluttered market. Okay? Or if you can educate the customer in which way it is innovative, right? Small quantity you have to take or how to take so that it boosts immunity better than other immunity boosting agent. That education has to be delivered, which is not. So to start with, don't enter a market where education is not there about your product. Okay? At least they are aware about saffron as coloring agent. That much they are aware. You need to know the baseline of your consumers. What do they know about your product? Coloring agent, everyone knows, right? But is it immunity boosting? Hardly anyone. Yeah. Is it metabolism boosting? Hardly anyone knows. Okay, but coloring agent, everyone. So which means that itself can't be your USP. Find out USPs that have higher value proposition to your end consumers. Do not merge two markets. Market your product separately. Different variants at different price point to different. That's about this product. Okay. Where from we started? We started from problem recognition. What are the 3 reasons why the consumers would want to buy you? Out of that 3 reasons, take out the priority reason, USP, which will not, with that you would not enter into a cluttered market. You would not merge 2 different markets, and also at a different price point you can enter in different markets. Right? With that. Now, information search, when your consumer is looking for information, suppose the challenge is suppose taste enhancement. You are looking for products which are called taste enhancers, right? So, consumer is searching taste enhancers. Suppose saffron does not appear anywhere in taste enhancement. So, you need to know the close option to saffron that consumers will get when they search. So even if you are in the business of saffron, you need to know the closest option to saffron. Okay? Because the consumer is searching information at a place where it throws them in different options. Okay? And then you need to take into account that how saffron is different from the closest option that they find. Suppose taste enhancement, give me another name, which is a taste enhancer, a replacement for saffron. The X. You think about it. What is X? You think about it. X is a taste enhancer, which is mostly replacing saffron. We'll take a short break and after that we'll use it. Thank you.
We'll be having a small felicitation to our revered guests that have flown here from Katra, Professor Supransha. He'll be felicitated since he has flown on a very short notice. We have small thing for them as a token of respect and love. And I would request Professor Asmat Alam sir to please hand over this small memento to the professors from country. Let's have a round of applause. Thank you, sir. So these memories that we'd like you to have with us, with the group. And we have for the ma'am as well. We have ma'am, she has flown from Delhi. We are thankful to her. She's going back in the morning tomorrow. But she'll be here. This is a token of love and respect from our side. Thank you, sir. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
So we resume. So first of all, everyone is with me. Are you learning something new? Okay, hopefully so. So now coming to information search. When your end consumers are searching for information as what? Taste enhancer, right? And saffron suppose nowhere appears. Or suppose saffron appears, but along with saffron there are n different things. You need to know the closest replacement of saffron, right? Which is suppose X. Okay. So, on your packaging about your product, when you are educating consumers, when you write about your USP, by knowing the closest option, you need to differentiate saffron from that closest option. So that the consumer is not confused about saffron and the closest option and does not take saffron as a replacement for the closest option. It definitely values saffron more than the closest option. This is what is the job of the market. Okay. So when you say simply taste enhancer, that does not do the job. Why? Because there are n other things which are also marketed as taste enhancers. How saffron is different from that, or you have established one brand for that saffron, how that is different from the closest options, that consumers are not aware. So where do you establish that and how do you establish? Of course, again digital platforms, but small educative content on your different other mediums, right? Why it is better than the closest option. This is what you need to do. Third step is evaluation of alternatives, where the consumer is bombarded with saffron X, Y as taste enhancer. He or she is constantly evaluating saffron against X and Y. Right? How do consumers evaluate? Price is just one part. How do they evaluate? But there are other things that consumers are evaluating. If I buy a bottle of or small container of saffron, how long is it going to last? It is different from shelf life of the product where you are going to use saffron. It is the shelf life of the product saffron itself. Okay, which is value for money. When you are paying 50 rupees for, say 350 rupees for a small sachet or container, how long it is going to last? That's one. What's the other thing? How many times you can use it in the product? Consumers are not aware. कितने खीर में कितना saffron डालना? Not aware. That education is not there. So now they put much more instead of taste enhancement. What it does? So it hampers the consumption. Primarily sustainability, it means a lot. Okay. So which means that consumers need to be educated about the difference between the replacement, the closest option to your product. And while they are evaluating the alternatives, you as a marketer need to help them evaluate the alternatives. Right? How do they evaluate? Do they consider price? Will they consider quantity? Will they consider shelf life of your product, the same product? Right? Are they aware about how to store it? Right? Are they aware about how to use it, end usage of your product, etc. Right? So generally, behind any package, you would find that there are instructions written how to use it. And also beside that, there might be many alternative usage. You cannot list all of them here, but you can provide them a link to go through alternate usage of the product. Right? And also, what else? While you are providing information about the usage of the product, tell them what not to do. Okay, do's and don'ts. What not to do. Because that spoils sometimes the product review. Because they don't know what not to do with the product, and when they do, they get dissatisfied, which is linked to no repurchase. the reasons that you have written down for your kind of product. First activity is rank the reasons, depending on how we have discussed. How do you rank the USP? What should be your top USP and why? Please rank it right now. The three reasons that you have written with respect to your product, please have a priority ranking of the reasons. Okay, reason 1, 2, 3. So rank 1 is your USP with which you are entering into a market at a different price point, which is not cluttered, etc., what we have already discussed. Yeah? These are very, very specific steps. Okay? I hope all of you have ranked your reasons. Okay? With your priority USP, see to it that you are not entering a cluttered market. That you need to take into account. Second, you can enter into n different markets at different price point with that as USP. You all are getting what I am trying to say? Any question? This we have already discussed with Sato. B2B market, B2C market, different price point, etc. Please do that for your kind of product. At the end of the session, at least this you should take away. See? And then next is for that priority ranking, suppose taste and answer is your priority ranking. When consumer is searching for information, what is the closest option that he or she is coming across with respect to your product? Please write it down. Closest option to your product. Which the consumer might be confused with or might replace your product with, etc. Okay. Once you have noted it down, please write when the consumer is searching for alternatives, in what way you can help them evaluate your product better. Is it only the price point? Is it writing down the end usage of your product? Is it by writing down do's and don'ts with your product? How will you help the consumers evaluate the alternatives? Right? And even within your product portfolio, how do you make them evaluate the products better? For example, you have XYZ variants of cherry or apple or honey. How the consumer evaluates and takes a decision that, one well, this is what I need from your product portfolio. How do you help the consumer? Even honey is not a standard product. There are different grades of honey, different variants of honey, different value propositions. When consumer visits your shop or your platform, digital platform, how he or she takes that decision better? Or what will happen when consumer is confused, cannot take a decision, will leave altogether and go to another platform which you don't want, right? Which you want consumer to take a decision and not leave. Okay. So how do you help them make that evaluation better and take a decision? So any one of you who has written down, how do you help them make the evaluation better? And then only purchase decision can happen, right? Or else consumer will leave because he or she is confused. No, I don't want this jargon. Specific steps. Okay. Let's start with honey. Yes. Your product is honey, right?
Sample can be provided.
Sample can be provided, but for a digital consumer, how are you going to do it?
First reviews then pay.
Okay, first पहले इस्तेमाल करें फिर विश्वास करें.
Mini sample session. You will take the product and
No, digital consumer.
we will provide them as sachet. Small quantity.
Okay. So even if I am buying a variant A and I have searched for A, B, C from your portfolio, right? Even if I am going for A, which might be at a lowest price point on your platform, does not matter. Provide small samples of higher priced items along with that for them to try it for next time. That's for next time. Okay? For them to try and next time purchase it. Of course, that can be done. Okay? We are talking about first time purchase And how do you make them evaluate the product options that you have better in order to land with the right product that they want? How do you help them? And we are talking about digital consumers, no? Physical, of course, you can show them, demonstrate, make them taste, sampling, trials, all that can be done in physical format. But for digital consumers, how do we do? And this is all about that. Okay. Okay. Anything else?
Now we can put that certification also there, like in case of
Certification.
funding.
Okay. Certification you can display for assurance, quality assurance. Okay. Anything else? Rating and reviews. You can have an introductory video which is comparative, gives a comparative view of 3 different products where the consumer can get confused. You know where can consumers get confused, right? Suppose you have option A, B, C, you know these product review videos where third parties review the products. There can be cars, there can be other industrial goods, commodities, products, etc. They just eat something and give review, right? 3 different products. Or they tried 3 different cars and give reviews, right? They don't try BMW with Tata Punch. They don't do that. Have you seen those videos? They never try BMW Audi with Tata Punch, right? And give you product review. So typically, how do they give? Same price range, 8 to 10 lakh budget if consumer has. What are the 3 options that consumers will generally look for and get confused about which one to buy, right? Maybe Renault Kiger with Tata Punch and Maruti some variant in that range. If these are 3 options in evaluation of alternatives. Before that, when you do information search, which type of car within the range of 8 to 10 lakhs, and that will give you 3 options, which are comparable options. And this is where the consumers can get confused which one to buy and why. Right? Which are 3 different manufacturers. Price point is comparable. Products are also comparable. But as a manufacturer or marketer, how do you help the consumer to take a decision? Right? So this is how product review videos are made. It's not apple with orange. It's with 3 different types of apples which can be considered the same from consumer point of view. Okay? So everyone will say, have social media channel, digital page, etc., put content, but how? And why? And what? These are important questions. You cannot compare X with Z or Y, X with X plus delta and X minus delta. This is what you will compare. Okay? So these typical look at product review videos, and that will give you an idea that what to be done with respect to your product. Suppose you have a platform where you are selling different SKUs, different variants of your product, different cookies which have the base ingredient the same, different cakes, base ingredient is the same, but consumer is confused whether to try this or this variant or that variant coming from the same manufacturer. Or everything is priced at 50 rupees, so which one I try now? That is where consumers get confused. They are clear whether to buy 50 rupee item or 500 rupee item. They are clear about that. So don't make videos unnecessarily comparing these 2. That's of no use to consumer. So when we say cost to businesses, this has to be reduced, but has to be channeled in the right direction so that it helps the consumer to take a decision. So from the very beginning, from problem recognition to information search to evaluation of alternatives, we are before purchase decision when the consumer is evaluating alternatives, and how do we help the digital consumer to take a decision? Physical to all of us know. How do we help them take a decision? Right? Product review videos, not single product, comparative review. Okay? On Amazon and Flipkart, you might find those comparative details of 10 different products. But still, we are one step behind where for products like these, saffron, honey, or cherry, or bakery items, etc., where consumers are not educated, and hence only writing details would not help. Making videos would help better understanding. Okay, so product review videos, comparative review videos are important. Other educative videos comparing replacement products, saffron with tulsi with other product which are considered as replacement. So those videos are also important. Okay. So when we are putting in hard work, effort, we better should put it in right direction, where it will be changing the game and not where it is of no use to consumer. Clear everyone? So now the consumer when goes through the review videos, they might have questions. Some questions might not be answered even through the videos. Followed by videos is what? FAQs. Frequently asked questions about your product. Those are important. Why? Again, purchase decision. You are helping the consumer at this stage, and this is a break or make stage. Please remember, this is a break or make stage. Be it for cars or be it for saffron, it does not matter. Irrespective of your product, consumer is going to go through these steps, and hence you need to know where to make the right intervention and how. Okay, and which is why knowing some bit of theory helps. Rather than working as a blind person in that domain, just hit and trial, knowing some bit of steps helps. Okay, so right kind of videos, comparative product review, along with FAQs will help the consumer make the purchase decision. Suppose now the consumer has added your product to cart. Add to cart is done because you have now decided that this product I am going to buy. Even at this stage, it's not yet over, right? The consumer may not make the transaction, which is paying. There he or she might get stuck or might postpone the purchase. Okay? Let me just add to cart and later I will see. That also happens. Sometimes cart abandonment, which is even after adding to cart, they are abandoned. Right? They are not buying your product. Why? Why that happens? Cart abandonment. Any idea? So consumer has gone through problem recognition, search, evaluation alternatives, purchase decision, but purchase is not done. Why that happens?
Out of stock with reason.
Price is already considered. So that's how you have added it to cart. Sort of ambiguity. Okay.
We failed in the prior picture somewhere.
You failed.
Problem recognition, permission search, and evaluation of alternative. Those are the steps where he makes the decision whether he wants to buy it or not.
So decision is made. Product is added to cart.
Alright.
But the next stage is not happening, which is moving to pay. Is not happening. What are the possible sides of the product? Not satisfied?
Yeah, we're confused about it.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. So there could be several reasons here, but we just need to be aware and need to see that again right intervention is made that helps the consumers to purchase. Final button. Okay, pay. That happens. How? In these, within this gap, what happens sometimes consumer might get a better deal somewhere else. Right? Lightning fast deals, flash sales. These things happen on different e-commerce platforms. Sometimes deliberately done to dominate with their private label products and brands, right? But how can you bypass that? That's the question. Can you bypass? Then how can you bypass? So consumer has added to cart. How do I make sure that the transaction happens and cart abandonment does not happen? Okay. Now what to do? You can create artificial time pressure.
Like only few items.
Time pressure, which is this deal is only available for next 7 minutes or 7 hours. Right? The clock goes on 7 minutes or 7 hours.
After that, it will be another price. Time pressure, that's available. What else? Calls or messages, right? Digital, of course, all digital media, calls or messages. That you have added this to cart. Anything, any challenge that you are currently facing, how can I help you, etc. Right? How can I help you is important. Next what? Now suppose the consumer has added to cart and payment fails. That's another concern. Has paid but payment fails. Then that person most likely would not continue with this particular, this majorly happens when payment fails. Right. So having a trusted payment gateway is important, and where that is again another third party with which you are doing business, right? Another third party which is making the payments happen for you. So monitoring, auditing, and having the right kind of metric.
Multiple options as well.
Yes, multiple options. So cash, net banking, cash on delivery, credit card, multiple options that every business today is providing. Right? That is there. But you can always have a hint there. You know, mostly net banking is the preferred mode of payment. That's a hint that you are providing. Where in past you were aware that if they are going via net banking, most of the failures don't happen. Mostly it goes smooth. But in your experience, if Paytm, suppose failed multiple times in past, so you will have that as a payment option, but you will not motivate your consumers to opt in. So having a clue that which option generally is preferred or works better is important to make that transaction. Okay? So that hint or that hand holding is important. What else? Of course, recommendation engine there. Along with this, you can cross-sell and upsell. Those things are already there. We have discussed in past. Generally, along with saffron, this people buy, or consumers from your locality buy X with saffron more often, or things like that. Right? Or today, so many people from your locality have already bought. Right? Things like that will make that thing. Okay? So now we move to post-purchase behavior. So you have a cycle in which you expect that buyer to come back to you. So you know that 50 gram of saffron, if used in a household, then how long generally it will last. So you have an idea that after maybe 2 months this person should come back. Right? So have that tentative timeline along with each type of item. So you have product line, you have 10 different items. Have that metric that 2 months is when I expect a repurchase of this SKU. 3 months after which I expect a repurchase for product X. So have that timeline. That helps for digital consumers. So you know that after 3 months or 5 months or 6 months, the person should have bought this from here but has not come. And what is that ratio? Out of 100 people that bought from you in January, how many of them have come back in March? Is it 80%, 60%, 50%, 20%? What is that ratio? And keeping a track of that is very, very important for your business. If 80% of them are coming back, and which is why, yesterday they were talking about data analytics, etc., right? Having the right data set with you. And how do you analyze? These are small things which you can do at your end. Right? What is that churn ratio? How many of them are coming back to you after that cycle that you have fixed, right? For 50 gram of saffron, 2 months, for 100 grams, 4 months. What is that timeline after which you expect a repurchase? Have that ratio, calculate that ratio always. 80%, 60%, 40%. And accordingly, your next strategy must be in place. Okay? Suppose 80% as supposed to, suppose someone who bought in January is supposed to come back to you in April. This is what your metric says, your business says. And by the end of March or in the mid of March, sending them the reminder. Okay? So these reminder setup is very, very important. All of us know this, but mostly we don't do this because we don't know what is the right way to go about. Okay?
You might have, do you have urban companies services available here? You know what is urban company? Some of you. Not many, not very prevalent. Okay. So now in some cities, these are personal grooming services, salon services, beauty services, etc. The urban company is the provider, and these agents, they come to your house. So in your private space, you are taking that service, right? Instead of going to a parlor or a salon, you are enjoying that service at your house. So this is the company. Now suppose they know that monthly once you go for a haircut, suppose their data says, right? Which means after exactly 1 month you should come back to them. So exactly before 7 days from that 30-day cycle, they will start sending you reminders. It's time for this. Can I help you book your upcoming service? Or what time is suitable for you? Or should I go for a repeat service after these many days? They give you option, reminders, everything. So even if, as a consumer you forget, they don't forget. Okay, so they come after you. So which is when it makes easy for you, again, not to go through the entire set of processes, but to start from purchase decision. What I am trying to say here is, don't make your customer go through from the beginning while they are going for a repurchase. Make them start later in this stage, right? Which can be from just before purchase decision. Sending them right reminder, and this time make a better offer to them, right? In past you have bought X, hope you found it correct, appropriate for your usage, hope you are satisfied. Now let me propose, Y for you this time. Why don't you try this and let us know if there is any feedback, etc., etc. Don't make them go through from the very beginning. This is what for digital consumers, this is important. Yeah, physically of course you cannot help, they come to your shop, they will find different variants, they will again go through. Okay, majority of them. But for digital consumers, it is easy for you to have an intervention here and start again from purchase. Repurchase, repeat purchase, etc., which is good for your business. Please let me know if you have any question here. Is it well understood by everyone what I am trying to say? That when and how you can intervene for digital consumers, no matter whatever is the product. Agri product or not agri product does not matter. True for all of them. Okay, is it clear everyone? Yes. Okay. You have any question with respect to the product that you have written down? Is everyone clear with your type of product? What should be your USP and why? How do you not enter a cluttered market? And how can you make different price points available to different markets and yet thrive in them? Okay, I am assuming that for your kind of product you are able to do this exercise. Okay, so we move on. So these are basically explanation of these steps which we are not worried about. Okay, just one more intervention here. When as a consumer you are looking for a product, right? The world comes to you on Google. So suppose I am looking for mobile phone, so you will get all these options, right? You are aware about it. So these are the options that are available in the universe, and which is why it is called total set, right? Suppose you are looking for immunity boosting apple variant. This is what you are searching for. Whatever you can come across, that's the total set. You might be aware about some variants and might not be aware about the rest. So the variants that you are aware about, it belongs to awareness set. The consumer is aware about this. For your kind of product, please think over it. For your kind of product, is it appearing in total set or in awareness set of your consumers? So there are mobile phones like Carbon. Carbon is a brand. Are you aware?
Yes.
Some of you, huh? Some of you are not aware. For you, that's not in the awareness set, right? For Carbon, what matters? It matters to them that at least they appear in the awareness set and not in the total set. Okay, total set, each and every manufacturer is present all over the world. Okay, so as a manufacturer, you would want to start with awareness set. At least word of mouth, some word of mouth, even if they are not buying, still they are aware about your brand. That helps, brand or product. Okay. Next is what? Consideration set. Even if I am aware that there is Lenovo available, Xiaomi available, I am aware, I will not consider them. So some brands are preferred over others. These are Samsung, mostly you will find, these are some brands, iPhone of course, but Samsung is a leading brand which is for one product category, right? Then is what? Samsung and two products, two brands, two relative products is always confusing for consumers, and that is what we call as choice set. As we told you, in example that Tata Punch, Renault, Kiger and Maruti, some other brand, they will be very, very comparative. And that is where is the choice set. Out of these three, which one do I pick and why? That's an important question. Okay? So when you appear in the choice set, then only you can make the right intervention so that the decision is in favor of it. Decision is in favor of it. Because consumer now does not differentiate between Samsung and Lenovo. He or she finds them comparable. Right? Either this or that would do. So replacement happens there. So next repeat purchase, when consumer is back to choice set, okay, Samsung or Lenovo, consumer does not start from total set again. Consumer starts from choice set. So you know that which is that other brand or other product that appears in consumer's choice set and from where your job starts, right? Bringing it to decision. And what kind of intervention is required there, we already discussed. Okay? So please see to it that you appear, for a repeat purchase in choice set. For a first time purchase, you appear in the consideration set. This is what is your job. How do you make sure that for the first time purchasers, you appear in the consideration set? How do you make sure? Can you make sure for digital consumers that you appear in their consideration set? Yes, any idea? For first time purchasers.
We have to sponsor, like we have to go for the adding of the
Absolutely.
brand, and for that we can go through the sponsorships and all.
Sponsorship, which is sponsorship in digital media.
Yeah.
Sponsorship does not mean you are sponsoring IPL. No? Not sponsoring the large events. That particular portal, sometimes you would find that label, right? Sponsored. That label you might have seen. Sponsored. Consumers at least give it a try or go and read about it, etc. Sponsored. But that's for a very limited time, only for first time consumers. Mind you. If you are doing it for second time, third time consumers, it's a wastage of your money. It's a cost to your business and wastage of your money. Okay? So only when you know that this is a first time consumer, having that cost is sponsored. Okay, cost to your business, but that is important for first time consumers. At least they try and read about it. Okay. First time event discounting is also for them to try for the first time. Okay, but for repeat consumers, that should not be a trend from your business point of view. Then it kills your brand. Okay, so sponsored, affiliate, influencer marketing, all these are important for first time consumers, at least to appear in the consideration side. Okay, so influencer marketing is important, but when and how? This is what you should know. Otherwise, you know everything. Okay, when and how is important, and how can you reduce the cost of the business and yet be effective? This is why you are here for. Okay, so start for the first time consumer, make sure that you appear in their consideration set, then bring them to choice and decision that we have already discussed. For repurchase, second time, third time consumers start from choice set and onwards. Okay, so we move on. Now, these we have already completed. These are just theories which we have already considered. Post-purchase behavior we have already discussed, and however, Paul, you will make sure their feedback. What is their feedback? Leaving that thank you note, giving them discount for future purchases, which we have already discussed. Okay. So now here we see three terms: buyer, customer, and consumer. I'm sure many of you who have done MBA or at least some marketing courses, you were aware about these terms. Okay. Another thing is, who is a consumer? Who has already consumed your product or consuming your product, which means he or she has been a buyer before, has been a customer before, now is a consumer, right? But these consumers have influence over buyers and customers, which are others, not them. They have already crossed these stages. But these word of mouth is important to create more customers and buyers for your business. E-word of mouth, right? Which they write as credentials, reviews, etc. E-word of mouth. Those are important to create more buyers and customers. What is the difference? Customer is one who would negotiate, who would ask you for customization of the product, etc. Please be also careful whether you are able to customize your product or not. If not, suppose